Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we are doing 1989's Heathers.
Some of the best one-liners in this movie, dude.
Yes.
There's some great lines.
There are some really good one-liners in this. And before we get into it, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Idle Poncho. And let's get into the cast and crew, 1989's Heathers. This movie stars Winona Ryder as Veronica, Christian Slater as JD, and Shannen Doherty as Heather Duke.
I'm just going to throw this out there since we never saw JD die. We just hear the explosion. I think he moves to Arizona from Ohio and becomes Happy Harry Hard-On and Pump Up the Volume. Because they're pretty much the same person.
They are. I do have a question. We can get into this, the whole JD character and Christian Slater. Especially in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Christian Slater basically played the same character in every movie. It was like he was... I took the note that it was like he was doing a really bad Jack Nicholson impersonation.
Veronica knew you'd have a hangover, so I whipped this up for you. It's a family recipe.
And another note, just off the rip from the opening scene of this movie all the way to the end. If you play croquet, you're a fucking asshole. Just FYI. I think back in the 80s, like, everybody had a croquet set for their kid at some point, I want to believe. I think I played it once, and I was like, this game's dumb, and I never touched the goddamn thing again.
Yeah, I don't remember ever playing it sober.
Yeah, I was too young to be drinking, so.
In fairness, I don't do a lot of things sober, so...
Hell yes.
Let's just start off the bat with this movie, outside of the opening croquet scene, and all of the croquet scenes throughout this fucking movie.
Yeah, that seems to be like the centralized theme.
They got nothing better to do.
The walk and talk. Yeah.
Yes, that's the walk and talk for this movie, the croquet and talk. So, this movie, Veronica, is part of a high school clique. It's comprised of Heather Duke, Heather McNamara, and the leader, who is Heather Chandler. They go into the high school cafeteria, and they're doing, like, I don't know, like a...
You win $5 million from the Pulitzer sweepstakes. And the same day that big Ed guy gives you the check, aliens land on the Earth and say they're going to blow up the world in 2 days. What do?
Like, this whole thing is, first of all, weird. And you have the jocks at the table who also play a big role. And it's Ram and Kurt. I think it's Ram here who's talking about Heather Chandler. And he says...
I want to get a Heather and put her on my Johnson and just start spinning around like a goddamn pinwheel.
We've all went to high school. We saw the jocks. This is basically what they talked like. And that's cool. Whatever. You do you, boo-boo. But this dude would literally come before she even took her clothes off.
How very.
When you hear the phrase, motherfucker ain't had pussy since pussy had him, it was made for that guy. If you are ever, if you're a young high schooler watching this show, hey youngsters, understand that guy has never fucked anything. He's never going to consensually fuck anything.
Probably
he
not.
is purely a date rapist. That's the only way he's getting anything.
Yeah, that's about right.
They should all just be named Brock Turner.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
He's the guy that's like, does this cloth smell funny to you? Like, that's that guy. That's who he is. Veronica then meets JD in the cafeteria, who he's the mysterious, dark, brooding guy.
This is what's frustrating about JD is you understand who he is within 2 lines.
Yes.
Because his first line is...
Greetings and salutations.
And then his second line is, well, that's the stupidest fucking question I've ever heard. Who did it better, Armando or Corey? Write it down in the comments below.
What?
those two questions, or those two statements by him, sum up his entire character, because when you first hear him go, greetings and salutation, you want to smack the shit out of him. Like, bitch, you're not in 1940s Brooklyn or whatever the shit you're supposed to be right now. It's not charming. It's not endearing. You sound like an asshole.
No,
but then when he responds to the question with, that's the stupidest fucking question I've ever heard, you're like, oh, thank God. Why is anybody answering this question? It's so stupid.
It is dumb.
How very.
Right after this, like, the jocks see him, like, talking to Veronica, and then the Heathers come over, they walk away, and then the jocks go over and fuck with him, to which he pulls out a gun with blanks and shoots at him. I didn't find the dark humor. I mean, I understand the dark humor, but I just didn't find it humorous.
Well, in this day and age, and if you're a truther of any kind, plug your ears, because you're going to be triggered. In this day and age, that's just not funny.
No, it's not.
Like, that's, you watch it at first, and from a movie standpoint, you're like, yeah, fuck those kids.
Yeah.
Because all they're doing is talking about fucking chicks or who's gay.
Well, yeah,
using the worst slang possible. And it's just really fucking weird. Them not being alive wouldn't be bad. But they're teenagers. I don't think we need to be killing kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Throwing it out there. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm
as far as that goes, though, and I'm glad you brought it up. There's a lot of stuff. Okay, funny one-liners in here, and there's
Veronica, why are you pulling my dick?
But there's a lot of this movie that just did not age well. It just did not.
Or they hit the nail right on the head. And that's how well the movie has actually lasted with what they're trying to say. Because a lot of this shit is still very right out in the open today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So after this, Winona is writing in her journal. And the first thing I noticed, and the first thing I said out loud to myself was, is she wearing a fucking monocle while she's writing in her journal? And sure as shit, she apparently is the daughter of the Monopoly guy. Cool.
Yes.
So she's writing in her journal. She goes to a university party with Heather Chandler. And
it's a big deal. And by the way, real quick, I'm just going to throw in this PSA because this is the second time you've brought up Heather Chandler.
Yeah.
Hi, kids. Uncle Corey here. If you know anybody with the first or last name of Chandler, run away. You are a plaything to them. Yes. They are fucking psychos. Yes. Always. Sorry, Kyle Chandler. You're a great actor, but I know who you really are.
I see you.
I see you, bitch.
But they go to this university party. It's like a frat party. It's got very rapey overtones to it. The one dude just comes in and like lays down on the couch and is like, "Hey, you gonna suck on this stick or what?" Like,
I just want to get laid.
I was never a frat guy.
Nor was I.
I was the guy that like the frat guys were like, "Oh, you're here." But I will say that a lot of that whole, just blatant, like, suck it. I heard a lot more talking like the jocks in this movie than I actually did witness anything. Not saying it didn't happen, because it clearly did. Yeah. Just that, it wasn't so just out in the open like that. Like, hey, I got a dick. Who's sucking it? Like, it never went down like that.
Yeah, and during this party, Veronica's like, I need to get out of here. This dude's like, if I stick around, it's getting rapey in here, so I need to get the fuck out.
The amount of guys Veronica has to simply just, like, really put her might into shoving off of her is insane.
Yes.
Every girl basically in this that has sex is not doing so consensually.
No, because there's...
It's consensually.
Yeah, there's a scene when she goes on the double date with
Yes.
whoever it is, Heather McNamara and Heather number 2 or whatever the fuck. And the one dude, like Kurt or whatever's, and they're in the background. And he's like, I don't even think they're having, because I think their clothes are all on, but he's just very aggressively dry humping her in the grass.
You hear her rip her blouse.
I
didn't
catch
what
it.
The fuck?
I didn't catch that.
Maybe I thought I was hearing things, and I could have been. Because Winona Ryder walks away just like, getting date raped. That's what she wanted.
Yeah, that whole thing was just weird.
Yeah.
But her and Heather Chandler get into a fight outside this university party because Veronica throws up, and she's like, she basically says, I'll ruin you because you threw up. And she also gives the line here,
what's your damage? Brad says you're being a real coos.
Which I was like, oh, God. Just the word coos? I forgot that was a word that was regularly used back then. But That's one of the, that's almost like moist. It's just, it's a gross word.
Yeah.
But it made me laugh when she said it. I was like, oh shit, I forgot about that one. So they get into this fight. Veronica writes in her journal that she wants to kill Heather Chandler. JD pops through the window because that's what happened in 80s movies. Out of all the guys I knew and all the girls I knew growing up into high school, no guy or girl for that matter ever popped through their love interest window or their friend's window. Like, that never happened, but it happened in every 80s movie.
Dreadful etiquette, I apologize.
JD comes through Veronica's window. They play strip croquet, as if croquet wasn't bad enough. Now they're playing strip croquet and they bang in her backyard. And then,
if I'm JD, I'm like, I gotta take the time to learn the point system. And now I then actually physically play the game just to get to the sex part. This is exhausting foreplay. Can we just play poker? Strip poker was what we played as kids. And it was so much easier.
And they didn't even have Google back then, so you actually had to read the instructions.
Exactly.
So they then break in. She shares her feelings about Heather. He says, yeah, you should totally kill her. So they break into Heather's house, and Veronica wants to make her sick because she's hungover. And JD pours liquid cleaner into her coffee cup, and it's for a hangover. Here you go, Heather, drink this. It's for a hangover.
This is so ridiculous. Heather Chandler, they set her up to be this smart, manipulative, horrible person. But she's not stupid, and she's not easily bullied herself.
Yes.
And so they come in the room, and he's like, here's the family hangover cure. I'm the fucking weird guy at school you've never talked to. And then it's just you're not going to drink it? I told you she'd be a chicken.
You think I'll drink it just because you call me chicken?
Okay, give me the coffee cup. I guess I'm going to drink it now. That drove me crazy. There's got to be a more clever way to kill her. She deserved a better death for how big of a bitch she was.
She did deserve a better death. So she drinks it. She dies, falls through the glass table. Veronica and JD freak out. And apparently, Veronica is Catch Me If You Can, and she can forge anybody's handwriting.
She's got handwriting down pat, as they proved before, as she participates in the bullying of Dump Truck.
Yes,
which is Jesus Christ, these people are fucking ruthless.
Listen, and again, in high school, there was bullying that went on. There was verbal abuse. There was physical abuse at some points here and there. But this whole writing the note, giving it to Dump Truck in the cafeteria, that shit is just fucking flat out goddamn mean. That's mean and fucking evil. You want to, you got people that, obviously we didn't have social media back then. You picked on somebody face to face. But if you say stuff to that, like it doesn't seem so bad when you do this. Like in that scene, I was like, oh, that's just fucking evil.
Oh yeah, it takes balls to some extent to walk up to somebody and verbally abuse them.
Yes.
It's a totally different thing to sneak diss, if you will, somebody like that. Like, that's just fucking humiliating and cruel.
Exactly.
That's not cool.
But JD and Veronica write a suicide note and leave it behind as if Heather killed herself. The next scene, they're in the school, so they have the meeting with the teachers, and they're discussing whether they should cancel school or not, which is kind of like a funny scene, because that's how I kind of would picture how it happened back in the day.
Oh,
if this happened.
Totally. Dude, if they found a suicide note somebody had written for me and I used the word myriad in it in high school, they'd be having the exact same conversation.
I must say I was impressed to see that she made proper use of the word myriad in her suicide note.
Well, I don't understand. And this blew my mind, even for like an 80s movie. How did the hippie teacher get Heather's suicide note and then she passed it around the classroom for everybody to read and then discuss their feelings about?
This is one of the best parts, and it's like the best running part of the movie, is how they're constantly using her suicide note to further their agendas.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Everybody's in such a rush to be shocked and outraged and hurt and sad, and I'm the most fill in the blank, that they skip over all of the important details.
Yeah.
Some would say the myriad of important details.
Well, and not only does the teacher have, like, I would assume either the parents would have that or the cops would have that.
Yes.
That would be evidence. But
yeah, I would say the cops would probably be hanging on to that.
Not only does the hippie teacher have it and pass it around the classroom, they also have it and they're putting it in the yearbook? I mean, I guess it's a dark comedy, so cool. They're putting it in the yearbook. Awesome.
I guess by dark comedy, they meant take the one black character you have and have him blatantly exploit a suicide victim's note.
Yeah, apparently.
To get a real hit in the yearbook.
Here's a what the fuck moment. There's a lot of what the fuck moments throughout this movie, but here's a what the fuck moment. Veronica gets back home from school that day. It's the first day back to school after Heather killed herself. And her dad asks her,
so, what was the first day after Heather's suicide like?
So callous. Don't give a shit.
It's just
not even paying attention.
Like, I'm trying.
For this are such a great snapshot. Just imagine instead of them actually talking to them, to their daughter, they're communicating through text.
Well, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because you see all of these, memes and posts on social media now, this is why Gen Xers are the best generation, because we had to solve our problems on our own, because not about suicide, but about most things, this is the reaction you got from your parents. Yeah, how'd that go? Yeah, dope. All right, I'm back to, I gotta watch fucking Nightline or whatever the fuck was on at the time.
Exactly.
So you were left to deal with your problems on your own. But after this, Kurt lies to the kids at school about saying Veronica blew him and Ram when they went on this double date. JD and Veronica decide to trick them into, and this is what I don't get, because he's like, yeah, these are bullets, right? But they're not real. They hit them and they look like they're dead. Bitch, that's a bullet. I hate to break it to you, but if that comes out of, it's a projectile. And when it comes out and hits you, you dead. And she's just cool, they'll be stunned.
And this is what I don't get about her, is she is so fucking intelligent.
Yes.
Throughout this whole movie, through her writing, through the way she crafts some of these things, the fact that she can forge everybody's goddamn signature, not even a signature, forge full letters in their handwriting. the fact that she could do all that, and then he comes along and is like, bullets. And you just go,
Oh, you're so smart.
either A, you've totally broke character, which is on the writers, or B, you really did want to kill those motherfuckers and you just chose to believe the bullshit that was flung at you.
Yeah, well, I think it's closer to number two. I think it's closer to number 2 than it is to number 1.
Yes.
But so they set it up to make it look like Ram and Kurt are in this gay relationship, and they do another suicide note, and they get away with it again. They shoot both of them, leave them with their pants
because
down.
The cops were getting high. They looked like they were smoking a joint. The way they were smoking it, the way they were acting, the way the smoke was in the car, that all seemed very much like those two guys were getting high.
I'm assuming because that's
the only excuse for walking up and going, "Look, Johnson, a bag full of gay porn. Clearly, they're homosexuals."
They get away with this second and third murder here. They go to the dual funeral with the dudes, and they got the football helmets on, and you have the dad.
I love my dead gay son.
It was super woke. It was a super woke dad in the 80s. Yeah. Cool.
That's for you, guy. He's the only one. Everybody else just calls him fucking dirty words.
Poop mouth. Poop out of your mouth. After this, Veronica becomes scared of Jen. Like, she's in love with him before this, and that's why she buys all of the bullshit he's peddling. And then she then finally becomes scared and is like, oh, JD's a psycho. Ooh, it took you this long in the movie to figure that one out? He's just waxing people left and right. And now you're just like, oh, he's a psycho. And let's be honest, I know, you guys did your strip croquet and banged. He's getting a little rapey now, too. Like, I
was going to say, and we've gone 5 minutes, so it's time for Veronica to fight off another rape.
Exactly. So she gets scared of him. He keeps leaning into like his psycho lizard brain character. And then JD blackmails Heather Duke into taking over for Heather Chandler as like the leader of the Heathers.
And I don't get this either because he's like, he pulls a Godfather. Like, I don't want anything. Here's the scary picture of you with a nerd.
Yeah.
I'm going to show that to everybody unless you take over as the leader, which you were probably going to want to fucking do anyway. And then later on, I'm going to call in a favor, but you're going to like it. It's like, dude, if you want me to fucking blow you, just fucking ask.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if that's what we're going for, let's just get it over with.
I'm just going to get a little weird about it, though. I'm going to ask you for a blowy later. So
for no reason whatsoever. I'm going to be very obtuse about the whole situation.
What did you call me? Obtuse? Is it deliberate?
Please don't send me to the hole, Warden. They don't have blackjack gum in the hole.
JD then goes to Veronica's house, tells her parents that he's scared that she might commit suicide as well, because suicide's becoming like the new hip thing at their school. Her parents pretend to care and then don't. And then JD's next plan is to kill Heather Duke, but Veronica wants no part of it. He instead plans to blow up the school. He gets Heather Duke to get everyone to sign a petition, which is actually a group suicide note. Like this,
he just removes like a Post-it note from the thing. He's like, I wish they knew what they all said. He removes a little slip of a sticker and then reads like 4 paragraphs of the suicide note.
Yeah. He then sneaks into Veronica's room to kill her. She looks like she killed herself. She's hanging from the ceiling.
Again, we get another total Christian Slater monologue. Yes. You really did it. I'm not going to do it again because my fucking throat is raw as shit at this point. But he's just like, oh, you did it. I loved you, and now you killed yourself. I mean, I came up here to kill you anyway, but again, like, if this is supposed to be funny, and I'm not being like, oh, this is serious, it's suicide, murder, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if that's funny, you need somebody better to deliver it, or you need better writing, or a better way to pace it, because I don't think it really landed.
not as humor.
No, it sounded like the ranting of a fucking psycho.
I could be up for that.
The next day at school, JD places a bomb in the gym. Veronica finds JD going into the boiler room. She confronts him with a gun. He fucks her up here and then plants another bomb in the boiler room because his dad knows bombs because he's a fucking psycho too. She wakes up, hits him with the fire extinguisher. They wrestle. He gets rapey again here. So Veronica, again, it's been 5 minutes. She has to fight off another possible rape. She gets him off of her. She grabs the gun, shoots his finger off, which
was great.
That was actually funny. I laughed at that. That's dark humor. That made me laugh. So she shoots his finger off, then shoots him in the stomach. The bomb is stopped because he puts the knife in the thing, whatever. Veronica,
she has like this crazy like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel-esque fucking way of stopping the fucking snap. Like the bomb's set to blow off. You can't tell if he's telling the truth or not about which button to push to turn it off because that's how bombs work. And so she shoots him because he's got the knife out and it falls right into the wiring of the dynamite.
Sure.
And bomb cut off.
Bomb averted. So she leaves the school, goes to smoke a cigarette. JD then comes out because he's not dead. And he's now got a bomb strapped to him. And he blows himself up, supposedly. He blows himself up outside of the school.
Yeah.
And Veronica then goes back inside, confronts Heather Duke, and she tells her that
there's a new sheriff in town.
And then walks away with Martha Dump Truck and hangs out, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, they walk out with Martha Dump Truck driving circles around her.
Driving the wheels.
Who's the only person that actually tried to commit suicide.
Like, for serious, yeah.
And never really got into her story whatsoever. It's just...
No.
Dump truck pastes a fucking thing on her chest, walks into fucking traffic, and they're just like, well, why wouldn't she try and kill herself? Nobody says a fucking thing about it.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, Veronica's cool and literally got away with multiple murders, but she made friends with dump trucks, so everything's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
And really, the whole more with what I think is funny is what Shannen Doherty says to Winona.
Do you really think if Betty Finn's fairy godmother made her cool, she would still hang out with her dweebette friends?
That's high school, dude.
No, it really is.
That is it in a nutshell.
Yeah. And dude, I mean, although this film is good, like the acting is good, there's a lot of good to this movie.
Yes.
And it's fucked up, which again, I love a good fucked up movie.
Yes.
But some of the shit just did not age well. And in the age of school shootings, some of the subject matter just falls, in 2021.
Yeah, maybe.
Between the school shootings, the Me Too movement, the multiple fights, the multiple fronts that people are fighting for equality on, this movie it would miss the mark by today's standards on all those fronts.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it's basically 13 Reasons Why, but from 1989. Like, that's what it's kind of, even though 13 Reasons Why is not considered a comedy in any way, shape, or form. If you were to do Heathers in 2021, it wouldn't be a dark comedy. It would be a very serious movie. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't do that.
It would be more of a social examination.
Yeah.
As to how quickly people are to feign outrage.
Yeah. Well, and what I noticed, because there's a couple of movies like this, that if you watch this either in 89 or in the early 90s, when I finally got around to early to mid 90s, when I finally watched it for the first time, like if you saw it back then and then you watch it now, there's and this is kind of why we do the channel. There's this nostalgia that comes along with it, right?
Sure.
And I think you're willing to write off a lot of things when you're looking back at these movies with that nostalgia. If you just took this movie and gave it to somebody who was our age but now and said, "Here, watch this and give me this movie definitely does not hold up."
Oh no.
In that regard, because about 10 minutes into this movie, they'd be like, "This movie's just all the subject matter in this is just off base."
Oh yeah.
You know
They're
what I mean?
making light of all the wrong things.
Yes. So I think in that regard, this movie doesn't hold up. As far as actually, again, being a dark comedy, being really fucked up, I think it does still hold up. But there's a lot of this stuff that's just like, this screams 80s. So
this is
I'm kind of I'm on the fence about it, like whether this holds up or not.
It's definitely a movie that I think is worth watching, understanding when it was made, and not saying like, "Oh, you got to excuse some things." Just understanding that it was a very different time.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like a woman fucking wearing a 2-piece bathing suit in the 1920s.
Yeah.
Like you'd see motherfuckers fainting all over the beach.
Sorry to get so serious. Let me bring it back around at the end here and just sum this all up. Does this stand the test of time?
No, I mean, based on that simple question, no.
Yeah,
it does not.
This is the one movie, and I don't even know how many we've done so far. This is the one movie where I got to the end and I was like, "Ooh!" Like this one, there's a lot of question marks in this one. So I'm going to go ahead and say it does not stand the test of time. Yeah. Does not mean that I don't like this movie. You shouldn't like this movie. If you grew up with this movie and you're looking back at it, there's a lot of people in their 30s, 40s, into their 50s, I would think, that have seen this movie, saw this movie, and it holds a certain place in their heart. And if nothing else, it's a super dark comedy, if you want to call it a comedy. I wouldn't consider it a comedy because there's a couple of dark, funny moments here, but outside of that, I don't think this holds up at all.
No, I would strongly suggest watching Pump Up the Volume if you have a Christian Slater boner. And if you got a Winona Ryder boner, I would suggest watching Reality Bites.
Yes.
Those are much better examples of what these two actors can do. And of course, if you want Shannen Doherty, just go to fucking 90210.
Yeah. Absolutely. You'll get all the Shannen Doherty you want with 90210.
Yeah, well, for about a season and a half.
Why are you pulling my dick?
All right. Well, with that said, for Corey, I am Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews.
Fuck me gently with the chainsaw.
Twat us on Twitter.
This was 1989's Heathers.